Coming up this week on the Nintendo Directors Podcast, Nintendo once again boasts impressive sales numbers for their systems and their games. Mario Kart is coming to iOS, and the long-awaited definitive ruling on whether or not Toad wears a hat. All that and more coming at you.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Brad.
We're two middle school band directors.
And you're listening to
Nintendo Directors.
Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to Nintendo Directors Podcast, episode 3015. You're getting this on February 8th of 2018, and we are recording this on Tuesday, February 6th of the year 2018. My name is Mark Lego, and my co-host is Brad Beyer. We are two band directors. We wave sticks at kids for a living, and we also really like to play Nintendo video games. And we're going to talk about those things with you today.
True. You know, Mark, I'd just like to point out quickly before you go on that we maybe shouldn't discriminate against those who might not be Earthlings. So, I mean, we welcome all listeners of any.
All right, here we go. Cut. In 3, 2, 1, go. Greetings, Earthlings and non-Earthlings.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, there we go.
I feel much better about that.
We'll splice that back into the beginning. Everything is good. All right, so.
Be great.
All right, so just a reminder that we are an every other week podcast. We'll be posting this one on Thursday by 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that should be the case for every other Thursday going forward as well. Lots of really cool things this week. And
good stuff. Yep.
I'm really excited to delve into Toad.
Yes.
I want to talk about that.
The long-awaited.
that it needs to be discussed in depth. And
Absolutely.
Now half of our listeners have just said, okay, I'm done with this episode. but the other half, you're the people we really want.
Both of you.
Yes, all half of you. Thanks, Mom.
That's great.
All right. Well, why don't we get started then? Let's head on into the news.
Here we go. The news this week is brought to you and us and we and all by insert name of the sponsor we finally get when we finally get one. Oh, wait.
Whoops.
We tried. Okay.
Here we go. And the news. Brad, why don't you take it away?
Well, the news. We're gonna kind of jump around here a little bit because I just want to focus on it's actually the second story we're gonna start with here.
Okay.
Then we'll go back to the first one, but it's just the way that they kind of showed up in the list there. But I think this is more important because we've been talking about something for the last several shows, leading up to this story, which has finally officially broken, and that is that this Switch, the Nintendo Switch, has finally. We say finally. It's been like 9.5, 10 months. What?
Finally.
Finally.
Jeez, Nintendo.
Completely outsold the Wii U in its entirety. And that is we'll start with that. That's 14 million or so.
Yeah.
Which I feel like we were just talking about 10 million
right.
a month or so ago. And obviously we've had the Christmas season in there. That probably definitely helps a lot. But man, that's still a ton, and I think there's just no signs of it stopping.
That is a lot of Switches.
That is a whole lot of Switches, definitely. And then to add to that, this actually surprised me a little bit. I mean, I knew it was popular, but Mario Odyssey has sold over 9 million units.
9 million
out of 14 million. Like, that's a huge attach rate.
That's just insane.
It beat Zelda. I mean, Zelda's only sold 6 or 7 million.
I think it's like 6.5 on the Switch, and then like 1.5 million on the Wii U or something like that. So yeah, it's like closing in on 8 last I think I saw. So but yeah, it's outsold Zelda Breath of the Wild, best game of all time.
What do you think that is, Mark?
I think Mario is more accessible to kids. More families would get that. I think Zelda has an age limit,
Sure.
Below 8, it's probably going to be a little too complicated maybe for a kid, whereas Mario Odyssey is easily accessible to young kids. I mean, they won't be able to beat it, but but I do feel slightly guilty because my daughters they're 5 and 2, but they'll just be like, Dad, can you play Mario Odyssey? And I'm like, I don't know how to answer this because I want to play and you want to watch me, but I feel guilty. Something about this doesn't feel right.
But you kids need to go to bed. But
I know. All right, one more power, my kids. Okay.
Well, and that's so easy in Mario, right? Because there's so many of them.
That actually has happened many times.
Oh man,
Dad, no, we don't want to go to bed yet. We just find another movie.
Right, we want you, Dad. We want to help you, Dad. Get one more. We can, if we're here, you will get so many more moves. I know. Dad.
it's. I'm not gonna lie. It's awesome. So, yeah.
So maybe there's a thing where every person who owns Zelda probably owns Mario, but not the other way around.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I'm sure that's actually really close to 100% accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, because if you own Zelda, you are a little more invested, unless you bought it for a kid and you didn't know what you were buying, because
right.
But you've heard of Zelda, but I don't know. I guess you've heard of Mario if you've heard of Zelda. So
yeah. But yeah, 9 million. That's insane. That's wow.
That's almost what 60% or 70% attachment.
Yeah. Which, if the Switch keeps going, I mean, what might Mario Odyssey sell, like 40 million copies?
My word. Good grief. Well, and hey, it couldn't happen to a better game, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's a fantastic
game of the year, just behind game of all time, Zelda Breath of the Wild. Sorry,
that's
Mario.
right. We've definitively established that. If you remember from our awards, whatever we call it.
The awards show that was watched, streamed by
3,000
between like 4 and 25 million people, somewhere in between there.
That's right. So you got it, man.
So, all right, yeah, that's awesome. So, why don't you hop onto news item? What was listed as number 1 then?
All right, so number 1, which is now number 2, is a pretty simple one, but this is good news for fans of Square Enix. Square Enix.
I say Enix.
Enix, yeah.
I think some people say Enix and they're wrong, I think. So.
If you own a Super NES Classic, you will know that one of the games on there is called Secret of Mana, and there is a modern...
Some people say Mana, and again, they're wrong.
That's ahead. Right. And so there's a game on there called Secret of Mana, and...
No!
And it's an old school kind of RPG and very, very highly regarded. One of the only games on the Super NES that utilized the 3-player there was a way that you could attach extra controllers to it. And so this surprisingly there's been a modern remake in the works for a while.
Yes.
For like PlayStation 4 and Xbox and PC, I think. Definitely PC. But now, apparently, the developer has said it's going to come to Switch, which obviously is where it should be in the first.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right?
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm a little skeptical on the aesthetic of what we've seen so far of the remake, like screenshots they've shown, but I can be okay with that. I would definitely play an updated version of this game. That was the first game and one of the only games that I can think of that used that wheel menu. That was so cool to use in battle, in combat, it paused the action, but like.
So you've played this? I honestly haven't played it yet. Okay.
Oh, it's really good. It's a great action RPG. It's as action oriented as, like, I don't know, maybe this is wrong to compare it to this, but like, because a lot of people say Zelda is like an action RPG. In ways, and this is more RPG, but it's very action heavy too. It's just good. It's a good game. So I'm really excited to see that it's coming to the Switch.
Now, actually, you know what? Now that I say that, I got to clarify a little bit. I apparently misread this. It says it's what's not 100% confirmed that it's coming to the Switch. The Square Enix developers have gone on record as saying they are, quote, considering it.
Yeah, aware of Western interest in Seiken Densetsu. And
right.
That, I mean, put it on the
everything's
Switch.
I believe it's gonna make it.
Yeah, I think so too.
But now, do you know about the remake? You said you saw the art style. Is it going still to be like that kind of overhead, just 2.5 to D
Yes, it looks kind
style?
of like that. It looks kind of like that.
It's
looks like the
not full
camera
3D or
angle.
anything. Yeah.
I think no, it looks like 3D models, but like the camera looks like it's on a slightly lower angle than what the original game was.
Okay.
I think, and they do some more close-ups and stuff.
Hmm.
So
So it's not like the Final Fantasy 3 remake from several years ago on the DS, which was more like a full 3D
yeah,
game, I think.
which was that was good. That was so good. I have so many good memories of playing that. Yeah. Anyways, I might be. I've only seen a few things. I think I saw a video of like the beginning scene where he falls off the log and into the river below. But it seemed like maybe it's going to be more along those lines.
Okay.
But the aesthetic still feels very much like the Super Nintendo aesthetic. It's just more cartoony looking, which is fine. That's fine.
Right.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So.
Cool.
Yeah, and
Why don't you
let's piggyback off that and go into one that we were talking about just before we started recording here. Them being aware of interest in putting that on the Switch, of Western interest. The Western interest in Project Octopath Traveler apparently was quite high, so high that the demo was downloaded. What was it? Over 1 million times.
Over 1 million. Yeah.
Yeah, and that game you've heard us talk about it before. I'm just so excited for this game, and the aesthetic is awesome. It's
beautiful.
It's so fun.
HD 2D, I think. 2D
yes.
HD, something like that.
I think that's what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I want all of it. So, but what so the news item on this is that there were 45,000 surveys that were sent in by people that played the demo, and I was one of those surveys they got back. And so they're talking about how they're listening to the fan feedback and trying to make some fixes to meet customer demand, which is kind of cool.
How did that work, by the way? Like, when you got to the end of the demo, did they say go to this website and fill out this thing, or was it through the actual game itself? Or
it was. I got an email about it, if I remember right, and what it allowed me to do was it said, like, did you play this person's path, or did you play this person's path? And whoever you chose, or if you played both, then you could do a survey on both. But some of the things that they wound up fixing, quote unquote fixing, if you call it fixing, was the travel speed. There's now fast travel that has been added, which is very. I'm glad, because even playing the demo, there were a few times where I'm like, this could be a bit of a slog, just like going back and forth through some of these areas. So fast travel's been added, allows you to instantly travel from town to town, which that's a great idea. Like, I don't want to just be able to go, oh, I want to go there on the map. Like, that would be lame. But from town to town, that's pretty standard, and it's a good thing to add to the game.
Nice.
They also are changing the ability to walk and run, how you do that. Before, you had to press B, and then you'd be running, and then you'd press B again, and then you'd be walking, it took a little to get used to. I thought it was fine, but enough people apparently complained about it that now it's been adjusted to automatically change based on the angle of your analog sticks. So the more you're pressing it, the faster you'll be moving. So that's cool. That's that seems pretty standard for a lot of modern gaming.
But I wonder, in a 2D environment, it's kind of weird, almost.
Yeah.
I mean, would it be weird to have to cover long treks of area, like with your thumb partially down on the analog stick?
Yeah, I don't know how much coming into play the walking would be, because if
that's another thing. Yeah, it's like, am I going to really need this? Like,
right. Because I mean, that was the thing. Like, I liken this game a lot to Final Fantasy VI. I played it when it was Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo, and once you got the Relic Sprint shoes, you never took them off. Like, you always had them on at least one character, because to walk was just boring. And so faster. So I don't know. I if walking plays into it, then maybe this might be a little bit more frustrating. But for the most part, I see this as a good move, because when you move with your analog stick, I mean, more often than not, you're just like pressing it all the way, unless you want to like role play it and be like, I'm just gonna walk through this town. Like,
right.
honestly, I've done that before. I'm that kind of nerd. So, so there's that. Some
That's
people
cool.
requested like increased map visibility, which is fine.
You mean
Yeah.
like the numbers that shoot off of somebody when they're dying, or when you
What?
attack?
Oh,
Did you say? Oh, you said math.
map visibility. Yep.
Okay,
Yep,
sorry.
because that's fine. Yeah, 'cause it did get a little dark. The map in the
Okay.
corner sometimes. So
Map.
That's fine.
Map. Got it.
Yep. And then they allowed brightness and screen effect adjustments, which is, I like the darker dungeon areas, like in the nighttime setting. I like that, but some people want to be able to make it brighter. So okay, fine.
I generally
So-
am one of those people. I mean, if
Yeah.
I have a very dark game, I don't like not being able to see everything.
Sure.
And so I usually my TV brightness generally is pretty high as it is. I remember
Yeah.
the first game I remember wishing I could do that and I couldn't, or at least not very well within the game, was Metroid Prime 2 Echoes.
Oh, okay.
Everything was so dark, and I didn't realize until much later that if you played it on a much brighter screen, like
Right.
you could actually see where you're going. Oh, how about that? Because you were always in the dark world, and that was a bad enough place to be as it was, and so
That's true. Yep.
Oh well.
Yeah. So, anyways, they've listened to the fans, and they're trying to make some adjustments in the fine tuning of the game, and it's still on pace to release this year. So, yay for 2018. That's
All right.
that's one of the absolute must-haves for me for this year. So, yeah,
Very cool.
Yeah.
Assuming
what-
it stays
yeah,
this
what-
year.
yeah, no kidding.
Right.
Well,
right.
why don't you take number? You want to take number 5? Or number
Sure.
4?
Yeah, I like this one. Number 5 is, even though we have number 4, number 5 is the Super NES Classic we alluded to earlier. It's, by the way, still selling quite well, and it has sold. It hit 4 million units.
It has outsold the Wii U, ladies and gentlemen. No, not
Not quite. Maybe someday though. You never know.
That's true.
I mean, but think about it, like 4 million units. That's pretty awesome. I mean,
That
like
is.
for a tiny standalone console, of games that a lot of games that you can buy. Obviously, not Star Fox 2 and the other games that you can buy just through Wii U lots of virtual consoles, 3DS or Wii U, or various other ways to get it. The fact that people are diving into this is awesome. I actually, every time I see a story about the Super NES Classic, I shed a little bit of a tear because I just haven't gotten back to mine in the last month or so at least. Because I'm playing so many. I'm still playing Zelda, darn it.
I know.
and so many other things, which we'll talk about later. But there's just so much to play that I get going back to those, and then I always keep thinking to myself, man, it'd be nice to have these on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. Oh, by the way, speaking of which, this didn't make our list, but I did see this. I believe it was officially from Nintendo's Twitter, in the tiniest form of a drip of news about Nintendo's online plans. They did finally say that the online program is officially going to be coming in September.
Yep.
So they didn't.
Did they
give...
specify a year?
Yeah. Right.
September.
That's right. 2030.
Oh, yep. Long after it's dead.
We're gonna get to Mars before we have Nintendo Online for Switch.
That's easy to figure out how to get to Mars, but how to put a virtual console on, that's tough.
Exactly. So, there's that. In theory, it's coming this year, and it doesn't get delayed again, which is great. Obviously, they gave us the barest outline of what it was going to be. Probably a year ago, 8 months ago.
Right.
And they included, the potential for those classic games that would have online functionality and stuff. But there's just so many more questions that everybody has, that I have, and clearly I'm the most important customer that Nintendo has, so they should answer them.
Absolutely.
So that's really all we got at this point. I'm hoping, and I'm basically expecting them to kind of blow this out when we get to E3 time.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is coming up in 4 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
That's coming up quickly. So hopefully we'll get plenty of news on that sometime soon. But
do you think that we could get press passes to E3?
highly unlikely.
Yeah, I suppose they don't give it to the biggest dog.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Also, from what I hear about going to E3, I mean, after all the years I've gone to the E3s,
Right.
it's actually kind of a bore because you just sit in line for so many hours usually. When
How many times can you interview Reggie? I mean,
really,
really?
that's right.
All right. Well, that's old news.
He just calls me up. We text every now and then, and
right.
he just gives me the little tidbits here and there. But unfortunately, I can't share them on the podcast, of course, because
right.
embargoes and stuff. But
we're tight. Yeah, that non-disclosure agreement that we signed with him. So yeah, but I do let him know my body's ready every time. So
there you go. That's right.
Yeah.
Man,
all right.
I love that we have Reggie. Reggie's. I mean, he's such a
so
personality.
Unique.
Yeah, totally different from most of your average.
I love Bill with Nintendo Treehouse.
Oh, Bill Trinan, yeah.
Yeah, I love Bill. But if he was great. The face of Nintendo America, I think he's a good secondary face. Like, he's the very kind behind the scenes guy. But like, you need Reggie.
Totally.
So, all right.
We're getting way off track here, but
yeah,
whatever.
All right. So back to the news. So here we go. I think this. Do we have it? Yeah, we've got
Back to
more.
the future.
Let's get to number. Let's get to number 4 here.
Yes.
We're bouncing all around here. Number 4 news entry, which is number 5 apparently, or whatever. Here you go. Pillars of Eternity 2 is coming to the Switch in fall of 2018, which is very exciting. It's if you aren't familiar with Pillars of Eternity, that's a game that was made by the creator of Baldur's Gate, which was a really great kind of 2.5D RPG that I played back in college, and I love the look of Pillars of Eternity and Eternity 2 now. It has a great look, and I've read some reviews on it ever since I had seen that it was coming to the Switch. I was looking up some of the reviews of Pillars of Eternity 2, and it's text heavy, but I'm okay with that. And
you mean previews?
Yes. Sorry, previews. Yes, because it hasn't even come out. No, it's out now. It's out on.
Oh, is it out already?
Yeah, it's out for at least on
PC or something.
Yeah, and I've seen it on the App Store for Mac.
Okay.
So yeah, it's out, but it is text heavy. It's but it does play fairly well, and it's got about a 20-hour. I think I saw a 20-hour. Maybe it was longer. I don't know. It's somewhere around 20 hours of playtime, which is fine.
Okay.
That's a good amount of time.
And this is an indie studio, right? That made this game. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
They kickstarted, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
They kickstarted. Yep. And they made $4 million on their Kickstarter for Pillars of Eternity 1. That was back in 2012, which was the record for a video game at that point on Kickstarter. So that's pretty cool. So I'm excited about this game coming. It depends on what the price point is. I think I saw that it was $20 to download on the App Store for Mac, so I'm hoping it hits that price point on Switch. That would be really cool, and if it's in that price range, then I will probably purchase this the day it launches. So
there you go.
It's just
that's sort of the dungeon crawler style game, right?
Yeah. Yep. And that to me that scratches my nostalgia bone. Like it's just like just right. Like I need
is it procedurally generated or is it
no
design?
No.
Okay.
So I'm excited for it. Looks good. Really good looking game. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next story here, we don't have a ton of information about this, but and I almost feel like Nintendo was kind of just, I don't even know why, but it feels like a sort of a rushed statement. But they officially announced Mario Kart for iOS and Android coming, wait for it, in March 2019.
Of 2019. 2019.
Right. So it's kind of weird that they went out on a limb to say this already. I'm assuming it had something to do with, the shareholders are essentially saying, all right, great, we've made all this money with the Switch and everything. What's next?
Right.
So, I think we all expected something like this eventually. They had their Mario mobile game. They had their Fire Emblem mobile game. They had their Animal Crossing mobile game, which I still haven't gotten back to, by the way.
I deleted it.
Did you?
I deleted it. I went into it for like 30 seconds after like a month and a half of not playing it. I was like, yeah, no, I'm just get this off my phone.
Right. And so now they're officially going to bring Mario Kart to it, which on paper could be brilliant. could be
What if
not
it's
as brilliant.
What if
but,
it's just like a cart designer game where you just design carts?
right? And T-shirts and
You go on
yes,
quests to go get
decals and
parts
logos.
for carts. It's Mario Kart parts for carts for iOS.
Right?
Go find parts for carts.
That's funny.
I have, I don't know. I'm so skeptical of it being any good.
Controls, man. It's gotta.
A virtual joystick always sucks. It's never good. So,
I mean, if it was tilt controls, do you think it would?
I use tilt controls.
Right.
Oh,
But
man.
I think that those games have gotten a little better on iOS over the years.
Yeah, a little. I mean,
I assume that's what it has to be. Like Nintendo wouldn't actually just put buttons on the screen, would they? I don't, because no tactile feeling and
right. If
it's got to be a tilt game.
controls, then that might be even worse because I'm just awful with tilt controls. I say it. Every time I'm in a lobby waiting for a race to start, I go vacillate between I use tilt controls and I'm feeling nervous.
I'm feeling nervous. Yeah.
Yeah, I just go between those two.
We're
and I
talking.
spam the board with
Yeah,
it.
they're your canned phrases that you can choose from in a lobby. Yeah, if you're not familiar.
So I spam those and because I
Right.
think they're the two lamest ones. But yeah, the tilt controls, whatever. I mean, it probably is the best way to do it on iOS, but I don't know.
Who knows?
I'm telling you, parts for carts, Mario Kart for iOS.
Then again, this is Nintendo. Maybe they'll probably just release some kind of peripheral thing to attach onto your phone and gives you buttons.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Much better than tilt controls. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll figure out how to do it right, and I'll eat my words here. So.
But 2019, man, that's
That's
a long. But I don't know. My thing is like that can't be the next mobile game they're releasing, right? I mean, they've got to have something else in between now and then. I thought their idea was to release like 2 or 3 per year.
Right.
And if that's the case, why haven't they even announced the 2018 games?
Dusty Diamond's All-Star Softball is coming out this year.
Oh, right. That's right.
Every episode. Every
Yes.
episode.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
so-
You get the last story, man.
Yeah. So the last one. Okay. So there was some debate going around as to whether or not Toad was wearing a hat or was that his head. And also, Mario has nipples. We've talked about this.
This is
But
true.
no belly button. So,
Mysteries. Great mysteries.
yeah, and so there was a recent. It was it a
Interview.
It was an interview that
I think it's the lead director, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yep. And I saw pictures of him talking. So, so we've got. It has been confirmed that it is Toad's head and not a hat, which feels a little contradictory because it seemed to be a lot like very floppy in the old cartoon and seemed like a hat. And I think he even took it off in the old cartoon, if I remember right.
Right. Well, it says, he says, so the quote says, so that, as it turns out, is actually Toad's head, officially ruling the Adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
As non-canon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm looking at the picture right now of him with his head
says,
looks like an egg.
And then he says, I'm going to have to leave it to all of you to figure out exactly how that works. Maybe there's something inside.
Now, here's the deal, though. If that's his head, then how come you can't take control of any of the Toads in Mario Odyssey?
Ooh.
Anything wearing a hat, you can't take control of. But you
Wow.
can't take control of Toad. You can take control of Yoshi, so it's not like there are other characters, and Princess
Right.
Peach always has something on her head. I'm just saying.
Mind blown.
I know. I think they're lying about this. I swear that
There's this
that's
conspiracy cover up.
Yep. So my feelings on this are that if this is the beach, the hill that you're gonna die on, Nintendo, then Nintendo, you are dead to me. Do you hear me, Shigeru? Shigs? Do you hear me? You're
Wow.
dead to me.
Good
I'm
grief.
done with Nintendo. No.
Remember, this is the Nintendo that made the Zelda timeline. The
That's
3-tiered.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. I think that they're just trolling fans when they do stuff like that. Like, here's the Zelda timeline. Have fun figuring this out.
Yeah.
Anyways. And I
It is what it
know
is.
that his name is not Shigeru, but I like saying Shigeru. So,
That's right.
yeah.
And in terms on the other question, by the way, his
The belly
quote
button.
about the belly button, yeah, he says, "Well, to be perfectly honest, I didn't really expect that to be a topic among fans. You do not know Nintendo fans, my friend."
No, you do not. Yeah. Come on.
Once I
prepared.
heard that people were talking so much about Mario's belly button, it made me start to think about whether we should revisit the topic on the design side.
Yeah, you think Nintendo? Come on. He needs a belly button. How did he survive in utero? Was he ever in utero? Oh, man. All right.
One little bonus thing. It says the article says. By the way, this is from Polygon. It says, finally, when asked if he could explain Mario's relationship with Peach and now Pauline, he said, "Quote: I would appreciate it if we could respect the privacy of those three at this time."
Wow. I didn't see that. That's a really good quote.
Oh man,
That's awesome.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Cool. Well, all right. So that's the news.
That is the news. Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we move on to what we've been playing? All right. What we've been playing. Brad, take it away.
Done. Well, as it turns out, I have been playing a little bit more Zelda.
Oh.
Not a lot actually. I'm kind of in this phase where I'm playing about 5 different games at once, and so every couple of days I'll put another hour or so of Zelda in. I'm not in a huge hurry to rush through that, but I keep plodding along. I think I mentioned in a previous episode that I'm building Terrytown, but that causes you to have to go all over the map to encounter different people to bring them to the town. And so I've decided that I'm just going to walk everywhere that I need to go and continue to find more Korok seeds.
You're never, ever going to be done playing that game.
And that's the plan, basically.
Are you even using a horse?
Occasionally, but you're climbing so much that sometimes a horse doesn't help.
So you're just stranding horses all over the place?
That's right. My poor horses. They just. Also, I haven't really found a good bridle and like saddle stuff that I really like at this point. So
Right.
I need to find more of those. And until then, I'm not wild about riding horses all around. And then I've heard, of course, there's a giant horse that I still need to get and a special horse that I need to get. And
Yep.
I did get the white horse, which is cool. But
The white horse?
the white horse is
Yeah,
one of the side
that's-
quests.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's probably the best one you can get.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's a really good one to have.
Good.
So,
So that's what I'm doing in Zelda. It's not a huge. I haven't done any more but Divine Beasts or anything. Still just having a good time with that. I've been playing some more of the Sexy Brutale, which is the game we talked about last time, and that's still pretty cool. I can't remember how much detail I went into it last time. This is the one where you're in that mansion where all the staff is killing everyone, and you have to save everyone by going back in time, kind of Groundhog's Day-ish. And so there's 9 different episodes, I guess you could say, where you have to save people. And I'm not terribly far. I'm only on like the 4th one or whatever. But I was a little bit disappointed at one spot where just in me walking around, I accidentally beat a level without even trying. Like I just happened to find the correct item in the correct room, and then I happened to choose to go into the next room correctly, because I was supposed to save 2 people, and I didn't see one of them. I never saw one of them, but apparently I saved them.
nice.
So one of them was a little bit easy, but the next one proved to be pretty difficult as well. So I'm not worried about it being too super easy. So that's been going pretty well. My only other complaint about the game is that it actually doesn't run super well on the Switch, which is kind of surprising to me because it's pretty. I mean, you're mostly just looking at one room at a time.
Right.
Little dioramas, and yeah, like I'll go through a door sometimes, and if it's not within the, if it's different than the traditional rooms that you're supposed to be in for the quest that you're completing currently, like sometimes you have to sit there for like 10, 15, even 20 seconds while it loads that next screen. I'm like, man, I think it's just an optimization thing.
Sure.
It could be improved on, but and yeah, whatever. So that's a little disappointing, but again, a very engaging game. If you haven't tried it yet, definitely check it out. It's very stylized, very cool. Art style is great. It's kind of melancholy, but it's also just very clever. Good puzzle solving and stuff. Cool. So that's the Sexy Brutale. I also went back and started playing some more Lego City. I've owned this game for several months now, and I haven't touched it really in a month or two. Still just kind of, going my way through the story there. That's such a clever game. I don't know if you've played any of it, if you played it on the Wii U or whatever, but it's
5 to 10 minutes, and I really want to go back to it.
Yeah, it's really cool. The super funny. The dialogue is great. The story is fun. Occasionally, it's a little hard to figure out where you need to go. Like there's markers, but sometimes they're kind of hard to like you get a little lost occasionally. But it's a big open world, and it's styled after GTA, so it's kind of the point a little bit. So it's just a joy. And honestly, I think. I was listening to another podcast earlier this week, and they were mentioning, and I would agree, the Lego games just don't get enough credit sometimes.
I agree.
They get a bad rap, I think, because there were so many of them at one point, and they got a little repetitive. But I think in the last 5 years or so, maybe 3 or 4 years, they've really just stepped up their game a whole lot. And the Star Wars Force Awakens Lego game, that was excellent. I didn't play the whole thing, but I definitely played some of it, and Lego City is fantastic, and there's just been a lot of good stuff that it's obvious that the people who are making that are trying to really break the mold and go the extra mile to actually create something that's really special.
Yeah, I mean, I loved playing Lego Hobbit. That was.
Oh yeah.
And what was great is there were so many characters in the movie The Hobbit that it was hard for me to keep track of who was who.
Right.
Until I started playing Lego Hobbit, and then I knew all the characters, but
yeah.
I only knew them by the names that my wife Allison and I gave them. It was just like Jimmy swings a hammer. Like that was be like, oh, you need to switch to Jimmy swings a hammer. Yeah, get him. I'll be Johnny Axe guy. Okay. So I know them all in the movie now as those people. But
did they look like their characters from the movies, or was it just kind of?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So.
I played about 5 minutes of that game. I downloaded the demo on 3DS, but the demo on 3DS chugged, and so I just gave up pretty quick.
It was also really glitchy. Like you just fall through the ground a few times, and
yeah.
Man.
I think that was around the time when the Lego games were at their low. But like I said, they've improved significantly in the last.
It was still fun. I felt rushed, like they hadn't play tested like.
Oh, I'm sure.
all the glitches. So, but yeah, Lego City. All I've ever heard is good to great things about that game. Yeah.
So that's the extent of my Nintendo stuff. I've also been playing some PlayStation stuff. Continue to play Horizon Zero Dawn. That's an excellent game. And if you have a PlayStation 4 and you haven't tried that, definitely check it out. It's robot dinosaurs. So where can you go wrong?
Right.
And then my old standby went back to Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm so close. No, okay, I'm not so close. I'm many hours away, but I'm 200 hours in, and so when you say so close, that could still mean 20, 30 hours left. But either way, so it's just an incredible game. If you haven't played it, you owe it to yourself. I had never. Okay, that's not quite true. I had played one Metal Gear game before. I played the Twin Snakes, the GameCube remake of the original Metal Gear Solid, but I hadn't played any of the other Metal Gears. And honestly, this game is similar, but quite a bit different in that it's an open world Metal Gear game. The systems are incredibly deep, and the gameplay is just super satisfying. That gameplay loop, very, very cool. You go out and do stealth missions, and you save hostages, and you infiltrate bases and stuff, and then you capture soldiers, and you bring them back to your army, and you upgrade that. You upgrade to your stuff, go back out and do it again. It's just fantastic. So I'm nearing the end of that game. Hopefully, I've got about 5 missions left. There's like 50 missions in the game, and I'm trying to 100% all of them, which again is there's many optional side objectives and stuff that you can do, and it's not easy, but it's very, very fun. And that's what I've been playing.
Cool. All right. So what I've been playing, well, what have I been playing? I've been playing a lot of Mario Galaxy at the behest of my daughters and at the behest of my desires. And and I am at 595 power moons. And
wow.
It's weird because like I see the moons on the map after there's later in the game there are these bricks you can hit that send a lot more power moons into each world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see them show up on the map, and I if I look at the map and I see those X's there designating moons, I have to go get it. I can't walk away from that. So I'm at this point right now where I enjoy every minute I play of this game. I'm trying to not spend all my minutes playing this game. So I don't know what it's finding. I don't know where my jumping off point will be where I finally stop playing Mario Odyssey. I don't envision myself getting to 999 power moons, but I could definitely see myself getting 999. So
you're almost to 600, dude.
Which
that's a milestone. That's more than half.
But it's not even 2/3. So we'll see. But I'm still just enjoying the heck out of that game. It's so good. So
did you go back and do the jump rope one yet?
I don't think I'll do that one.
Okay.
I don't think I'll do that one.
That's probably wise.
I really enjoy the races. Those are fun.
The
races, those are fun.
The Koopa races, those are fantastic.
Yep.
You feel so cool when you take a shortcut or sometimes you just gotta watch the gold guy on the second time through.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And you see where he goes, and then you see how much where else could I take shortcuts?
Yep.
And if you're really really smart, it's cool.
There's one in the Cascade Kingdom where I look at the number 1 times for the world records, and I'm just like, that's not humanly possible. Like that one is the one that's been most baffling to me. I know the only way that they can do that requires a jump that I don't think you can do. So I don't know.
Could be cheaters too.
It could be. So anyways, I'm playing a lot of Mario Odyssey. I went back and got a lot into Cat Quest again. Which is such a dumb game, but it's so good. It's really fun, and it's really charming to look at, and it's actually pretty witty in the dialogue. We've got lots of puns, and but the aesthetic of it is great. You're on this map that looks great, and it's got like you're walking around, but it's like you're playing on an actual map because all the names of the towns and everything are written there, and so it's just really fun. I'm at like level 27 with my character right now, and
nice.
I think I'd have to get up to like 60 or something to be able to beat the game. But the gameplay is a bit repetitive, so it's one of those games. This is my third go around with the game, where I play it quite a bit for a week or two, and then I just kind of walk away from it for a month or so. But so anyways. I definitely will beat this game at some point. It's fun. I'm working my way through it.
There's another game that stars a cat that you may be interested in. I don't think it's an RPG, but in fact, I'm sure it's not. But it's called Night in the Woods, and it just came out on Switch. Have you seen this?
Oh, you know what? I saw the trailer for that.
It's not an RPG, and apparently it's about like some pretty heavy themes.
Yeah.
But it's all kind of personified in this weird like animal type world. And so you're like this. Apparently, you're this girl who came back from college, came back to her hometown from college, and it's not really clear why you left before you finished, but then like you came back, and a lot of your friends have moved on or have changed a lot or have gotten jobs, and you're kind of the awkward one out, and there's interesting things. But apparently, your main character there is a cat, so
I'm okay with that. I'll have to. I might have to.
And honestly, there's been some quite have very positive reviews of it. I've been reading,
cool.
So you may want to check that out.
Yeah. So, yeah, Mario Odyssey, Cat Quest, and then a little bit more with Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm doing the DLC and knocked out a few shrines, but that's about it. Not too much with the DLC. I imagine getting pretty deep into the DLC once I'm done with Mario Odyssey, but then again, I still have Mario Rabbids that I want to beat, and I'd like to delve into that pretty deeply as well. So
the DLC has totally new shrines, right?
It does. Yes, it does.
Does it tell you how many?
It does. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
So, but it's great. It's Zelda again, and
right.
But I can only commit myself to a really involved game one at a time. So
right.
I'll get.
That was my mistake.
Yeah,
I got into Metal Gear and Horizon and Zelda and Mario all at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Actually,
I've been playing Metal Gear for years.
And you're walking inside. So that's
I bring it on myself. Totally.
So, all right. Well, anyways, that's about it for what I've been playing. I haven't been playing too much, but I got quite a bit of time in this last weekend, which was nice. But
very cool.
Yeah. So this week we do not have a soundtrack review or any other reviews for you. This
next
is
week for sure.
But next week we'll be
episode.
doing something, and we actually got a full-fledged Mario Odyssey soundtrack review coming up, either in the next episode or one shortly thereafter. And
right.
So yeah,
that'd be sweet.
Yeah. So I guess that brings us to the wrap up of this episode.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a ton. I mean, we had some good news stories. What we've been playing and stuff, so that's good. Hey, thanks so much everyone for listening. We appreciate it, and we hope you're enjoying these shows. If you are enjoying it, or even if you're not, we also ask that you go onto iTunes, and if you could leave us a review there, that would help the show gain some visibility and get it in more people's ears. That'd be awesome. You can find us on the Twitters at n_directors. And of course, you can find us on Facebook and on our YouTube channel called Nintendo Directors. If you want to consume the show that way, you can also be part of the show. You can write in at nintendodirectorspodcast@gmail.com. Obviously, this is a bi-monthly show, so our next episode, not bi-monthly, bi-weekly show. So our next episode should post on February 22nd, first day of Band Festival. That date is etched in my brain because I'm in charge of it this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 22nd is when we're gonna have our next episode. Mark, anything else for the good of the cause?
I think we're done. This is one of our shortest episodes.
Our quickest, most efficient.
Yes, our next
Most
episode is going to be 3 hours, so buckle up, everyone.
Prepare for director goodness.
Director
and
overload.
seriously, honestly, shoot some emails our way. We'd love to answer your questions. You're almost guaranteed to get on if you write something. So
that's not true. We filter out millions of emails. We're waiting for that first good email. So
right, we're waiting for you. just and only you.
Yeah.
So
all right, cool. Well, that's it.
Thanks so much for listening. Have a great week.
Yep. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.